Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. We are from a group 6 of Information Technology English course. We will present the result of our group work related to internet service, and we will take the subtheme about client server. First of all, let me introduce our group member. The first one is me, Putri Pratiwi Maysitha, as the moderator for group 6. The second is Erlina Yulianti as a presenter. The third is Ardita Ledytama as a presenter. The fourth is Inassa as a presenter. The fifth is Rika Rahmawati as a presenter. The sixth is Dona Sasmita as a presenter. The last one is Tsabita as a presenter. As for some of the topic that we will discuss are definition of client server, characteristic of client server, the function of client server, the client server component, how the client server works, and the last is the advantage and disadvantage of client server. Then the first material will be delivered by Erlina Yulianti, and sound please.
Okay, thanks moderator. For the next one, definition of client server. Client server comes from two words, the are client and server. A client computer is a computer that requests a particular service to a server. The client computer must be equipped with a special client application and run it so that it can take advantage of the service offered by the server. A server is a computer system that provides a specific type of service in a computer network. Servers are supported with scalable processor and larger RAM, also equipped with a special operating system, referred to as a network operating system or network operating system. The client server is a software architecture concept that connects two objects in the form is a client system and server. Server system that communication with each other through the same computer or computer network. The server will provide application management data and client data security.
Okay, firstly, let me introduce myself. My name is Ardita Ledytama Pramaysti. My NPM is 20130250 and 9. So right now, I will presentation the material about characteristics of client server. The client server refers to a mode of communication between multiple computers on a network that distinguishes one or more clients on the server. Each client software can send requests to a server. A server can be specialized in server applications, files, terminals, or email. Characteristics of a client. There are three characteristics of a client. Number one, it is the first active or master. Number two, sends requests to the server. Number three, it expects and receives response from the server. Characteristics of a server. There are also three characteristics of a server. Number one, it is initially passive or slave and it is waiting for a query. Number two, it is listening, ready to respond to requests sent by clients. Number three, when a request comes, it reads it and sends a response. Characteristics of client-server computing. The salient points for client-server computing are follows. Number one, the client-server computing works with a system of requests and response. The client sends a request to the server and the server responds with the desired information. Number two, the client and server should follow a common communications protocol so they can easily interact with each other. All the communications protocols are available at the application layer. Number three, a server can only accommodate a limited number of client requests at a time. So it uses a system based to priority to respond to the request. Number four, denial of service attacks hinder server's ability to respond to authentic client requests by inundating it with false requests. Number 5, an example of client-server computing system is a web server. It returns the web page to the client that requests them. Okay, so that's enough from me. Back to the moderator.
The function of client server. Server function. The server function are receive and process the database request from the client, check authorization, ensure that there is no violation of the integrity constraint, perform query or update processing and transfer response to client, maintain data dictionary, and then client function. The client function are setting the user interface, receive and check input syntax from user, processing application, generate database requests and move them to the server, provide feedback to user, provide simultaneous database access, and the last, provide recovery control.
The client server components. Number 1. User. Here the user is the end user who access the client to get service. It can also be said that a user or end user is when doing the final process using this client server system. For example, a company manager. Number 2. Client. The client can be a processor that is mostly done on a server where the parts within the scope of work are determined by computer programs. The client server component counts. Number 3. Network and transmission. Server and client can be connected by a transmission medium which can be cable, wireless, or fiber. The architecture used can be either OC or the one that is now widely used, namely TCP atau IP. Number 4. Servers. Here the server must have the ability to control software, run application programs, and access database easily and quickly.
Okay, next explanation how the client server works. The client contacts the server and sends the required data. If any all of this process requires a protocol. The protocol governs how the client or server send data and receive data. For example, there is a bank that has a server. Customer use a web browser to access data from the server. The client requests a web backtrack a web server with the HTTP protocol. The server asks the client to enter name and password information to log into the server. The server runs the database application and receives data from database. For example, the customer wants to see the transaction data so far. Then the results from the server are translated according to the bank rules. Facet again through the HTTP protocol. And finally, received back by the client. The client-server relationship will not occur unless the client requests a service from the server. So it's impossible for the server suddenly and client data that the client doesn't want. Thank you. Next.
Continue. Server and client can communicate because of the protocol between them. The existence of this protocol break between the client and the server so that uniform communicate can be achieved. There are various protocols adapted to the need of the server and client, such as HTTP or Hypertext Transfer Protocol, VTP or File Transfer Protocol, SMTP or Simple Mind Transfer Protocol, POP or Post Office Protocol, etc.
My name is Tsabita. I will explain about the advantages and disadvantages of a client server. First of all, we will discuss about the advantages of a client server network. First, information flows faster. By using a client server based computer network system, the desired information flow will be faster. No matter how many users are connected to the server, all of these clients can make requests and also access information at the same time. This, apart from being able to help speed up the process of transmitting data to clients, will also of course increase the time effectiveness for client and users in accessing information. The second is relatively higher security. In the sense of client server, a client computer is tasked with sending requests to the server computer, so we only use communication between the server and client computers. MITM itself is a man-in-the-middle attack. It's an attack where the attacker is in the middle, free to listen and change the conversation between two parties. And the third, have an excellent data backup system. Because on this client-server network, the data backup system is carried out concurrently by the server, which will back up all data used in the network. In addition to backing up, the server is also used as data storage area. With the server computer, the data on the client computer can be backed up on the server computer. And the last is the server has full control of the data needed by the user. Next, we will discuss about the disadvantages of a client-server network. First of all, operational costs are relatively more expensive. With a fairly expensive cost compared to a peer-to-peer, paradigm whose expenses are relatively more affordable. Wherein building a client-server paradigm that not just anyone can do and must continue to be updated by a professional IT technician who is currently experienced in serving a sense of server field. The second is when trouble occurs on the server, all network connection will die as already mentioned. The client-server network uses on one server computer to be the center of the network. However, as a centralized center, this creates a weakness, namely when the server is damaged and disrupted, which will cause the entire network to die as well. This will greatly affect and have a major impact on the entire network. Last but not least, it requires large computer specification. In particular, the server computer must have a fairly large specification so that it can serve clients who want to access data on the server. If the server computer has low or minimal specification, it will result in a down on the server computer.
That is our presentation today. Hopefully, it can add to our insight about the client server. It is hoped that friends can participate in our discussion in the virtual class. I thank those who have watched and I am the presentation today. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.